Afternoon at Good Works Auto Repair. My name is Glen. I'm the owner of Good Works Auto Repair in sunny Tempe, Arizona. Temperature today is about 70 degrees and it is a beautiful day here in Arizona. Nice place to live. Today I'm going to talk about something that I spoke about a couple months ago. We had a Jeep that we took to the dealership. If you've seen that episode, I talked about how I took it there for a recall on the ignition switch and a couple things. And they gave me this laundry list of stuff that the vehicle needed that had already been serviced on there, so they never really checked the stuff. They just went by the mileage and said, well, you need this, this, and this. And I also mentioned that the blower motor was not working, and I knew that before I went there. It was 108 degrees out, and I knew the blower wasn't working, and I was going to fix it when it came back from the dealership because I had a very narrow margin to be able to take the vehicle in, a window to get it in there, so I took it in. And they never told me that the blower wasn't working, so you may recall that if you saw that episode. So this gentleman here with this 2006 beautiful 300C went to start his car. He's an aging gentleman, about 82 years old, and he went to start his car and nothing. The lights came on in the dash and the headlights came on and everything, and the car wouldn't turn over or start. So he kind of panicked a little bit and he called the local Chrysler Dodge dealership, and he had the vehicle towed over there. And shortly after he had it towed over there, they called him up and they says, hey, we found the problem with your car. It needs a PCM. It needs a powertrain control module. And he says, okay, well, how much is that? And they says, well, over $1,000. And he kind of freaked out a little bit because he's an aging guy with a fixed income. And they says, well, that's the good news. We found the problem. The bad news is that we can't even get a module. These things are obsolete. We can't even get one till probably December of this year. Now, mind you, this is January 2021, and they can't get a module till the end of this year, if they can get one at all. So now this guy is getting really desperate. So again, he looks in his Rolodex and he finds Glen's card and he looks up Good Works Auto Repair. Gives me a call and I says, well, look, Don, why don't you have it towed over here and I'll take a look at it and I'll verify that that's the problem. And once we do that, I can probably find you a computer in the aftermarket, a remanufactured one, or I can find you one in a salvage yard, if nothing else, and we can program it and get it ready to go. So I says, okay. So I sent a tow truck over, picked it up. The vehicle came here. I gave him a loaner car and I started checking it out. And what I found very odd was that the key fob was not locking and unlocking the door. So naturally I opened it up, made sure the battery was good, it tested good, put it back in, would not operate the anti-theft system. So the anti-theft system, when that thing is inactive or unable to function properly, will not allow the car to crank, start, or do anything else. All it will do is sound the alarm. So as soon as we open the door, the alarm goes off, I'm hitting the key fob, I can't shut it off. I put the key in the ignition, I'm trying to unlock and lock the doors, and that usually will shut the alarm off. Well, in this case, it kept beeping and the doors, the electric locks were not working off and on. So I'm like, that's not controlled by the PCM, it's controlled by the BCM, the body control module. So there's another problem here that had nothing to do with what the dealer said. So we did some diagnostics on it, we pulled some codes out of it, we pulled this PCM out, all the contacts, everything looked good, put it back in, did the testing, cleared out all the codes, returned on the key, and we got a code for a communication problem. The communication problem is with the anti-theft system. So there's a reset procedure to do on that. So we reset it, lo and behold, we put the key in, the car started right up and it's fine. So where's the disconnect here? The disconnect is that the dealer assured him that he'd buy this $1,000 plus repair and it was going to fix his car. Now, whether or not they really would have replaced the powertrain control module, neither he or anybody else would have known. That's all done behind closed doors in the service department. And so essentially what happens is, first of all, a malfunction in the diagnostics. They diagnosed the wrong problem. Second of all, they're willing to charge him over $1,000 for a repair he didn't need, which wouldn't have fixed the car anyway. Then they would have been back saying, oh, it wasn't just your PCM, you had another problem with your anti-theft system, so we had to fix that too, and they just add that onto the bill. Like I said, whether or not they would have really replaced the PCM is unknown to any of us, but I suspect they probably wouldn't have. They would have fixed the real problem and charged them for both. So the lesson learned today is that you need to go to a place that you absolutely know and trust as being reliable, has a great reputation, and you look at the reviews on Google and Yelp and find out what are these customers saying about these shops, including dealerships, because they get reviews too, and most of them aren't very good. So you need to make sure you're going to a place that you can know and trust, and I'll show you right now. I drove this car up in here. I'm going to turn the key and start this car. And as you can see, it's running right now. Now turn it back off. But the point is that it needed a very simple repair. It needed to have a reprogramming of the anti-theft system. Car starts and runs fine. Took it on a 20-mile test drive. I started it 15 times since I came back. Everything is fine. So again, it's who you go to. It's how trustworthy they are. And I'm not trying to implant a sense of mistrust in dealerships or any other shop, but I'm telling you, if you go to places where they will overlook the obvious and try to sell you something that isn't even real, what's really not wrong with the car, and then they cover their tracks by fixing a bunch of other stuff, and they say, oh, it wasn't just this, it was that, and they keep adding onto your bill. This gentleman could have been in for a $1,500, $2,000 bill, and with me it was a couple $100. The diagnostic and the resetting procedure that we did on the anti-theft system fixed his car. So please, please, please make sure that before you go to a shop, or if you are getting a funny feeling about the place you're going to now, you need to find a place that's reliable, trustworthy, and has a great reputation. This program is called Under the Hood with Glen. There's going to be a lot more episodes to come in 2021. Thanks for your time.